I set this video up and realized why I typically record in my room because the light is good. Right now, the light is very intense, but I am embracing it. Today's video, I kind of intended to do one video a day, but I got really excited about this one. So today's video is about releasing guilt and obligation when it comes to ease and abundance. In the last video, you got to recognize, hopefully, yourself in some of the limiting messages that were passed down to you. And those messages can lead to us feeling like we are guilty for wanting big things. And in video one, you tuned into what wealth means to you. And it's possible, maybe even probable, that the idea of bringing those things in feels like a betrayal to someone else, or a betrayal to a belief, or a betrayal to an idea. Maybe it's within yourself, maybe it's outside of you. And this is where you get to unhook some of that emotion that can hold you back and be unconscious and drive the bus without your permission. So, guilt. I recently heard, and I love this, that true guilt is when you have betrayed your own values. The other type of guilt that people talk about is when you have betrayed someone else's values that don't align with yours, and that is actually codependence, which I felt very deeply. And I think that is through a lot of us. So that is the guilt we're playing with today. We're going to keep calling it guilt because codependence can sound gnarly. But this is when you feel like you have betrayed someone else's values, or you are afraid to betray someone else's values. And I would say values, expectations, perception, whatever pigeonhole you might be in based on somebody else's perception of you, that's what we're talking about. And this work that I'm doing right now in this video is inside of another program I have on Telegram. So Telegram it's like WhatsApp. It's like a texting app, and it is called Vital Energy Overflow. It is normally 222. And for anybody in this program, you can get it for $22, from numb to perpetual desire and energy in 10 days. When we are numb, it is because our energy is like locked up in things we're not willing to feel. So this helps bring those things to the surface, and then you get to find the juicy, yummy desires inside of them. So today, guilt. If you feel badly about betraying someone else's values, even if they don't align with yours, or particularly if they don't align with yours, then your boundaries are off. Just up front here, I want to say, don't worry, I'm not going to make you go do boundary work. I think it's interesting that boundary work can feel like so much effort, so much work. When you tune the boundary just right, it actually feels really juicy and like you're inviting somebody in to a new relationship or a new way to be in relationship. So just have that as an idea when you imagine tuning boundaries with people in general, that you are inviting them in to a new type of relationship with you that feeds you both in the way that you're now showing up in life, which is, who doesn't want that? That shit is pristine. What do you perceive or know to be the other person's priorities or values in the situation? And if we're talking about wealth, so we've been primarily talking about money and relationships, and you can use either one. And maybe this is an individual, and maybe this is a system or, something kind of complex, and maybe it's something you don't totally know. Whatever it is, give it a name. So it could be the patriarchy, or it could be my Uncle Joe. And what do you perceive their values to be? And what do you perceive their priorities to be? Then you're going to write down what are your priorities and your values. I'm going to give an example, and I'll use a personal example. My mom thinks that people who want money beyond their basic comfort are greedy. And there is an unconscious part of me that doesn't want to go against her perception of me. And I have experience with that where specifically there's the song by Travie McCoy, I Want to Be a Billionaire. I played that for her one time and I was singing along and bopping and enjoying, and she got really uncomfortable. If I were to name the priorities and values that she has, I would say that her priorities are keeping a low profile, staying inside the lines, not making a fuss, being generous. So, what are my priorities? My priorities are to disrupt, to call out things that are broken, to interrupt patterns, and to be generous, and to feel luxury, comfort, freedom, travel, choice, liberation. And hers are, in contrast to those, hers are routine, to keep things the same, to have things be incredibly reliable. Once you have named your perception of their values and priorities and yours, there is likely some overlap, and there is definitely a gap, or else you wouldn't be here. What story do you tell yourself about the gap in between their priorities and your priorities? In the example I just gave, one of the stories is she doesn't understand me. You can take that story through those 4 steps, like in video 3. You've already named the story, float the story, so you identify with it less, feel what's underneath it, and what is it helping you avoid, or what is it protecting you from? So feel free to take it through those steps. And is there a way that this situation, whether it's already happened or it's something you want to happen, so in the example of this wealth perception gap or wealth value gap, like I want a significant amount of wealth compared to what my mom understands to be comfortable or safe or proper or appropriate. Is there a way that it could work out so that everybody has what they need? Or it could be about a big middle finger to whoever that person or system is that doesn't align with you. If you don't know what way it could be optimal, then write it as a question. How might this work out for everybody's best interest? How might this work out optimally for everybody involved? How might this work out in the highest service of everybody here? come into Vital Energy Overflow. Again, $22. I'll drop some information in the comment section in case you're interested. I want everybody to be able to experience the juicy, delicious, lit up experience of their own pleasure, desire as fuel for their life, and create a vital, thriving life. More videos to come.